Critical Corey calling in from the UK. Critical Corey, you are live on Truth Wanted. What's going on?
Hello, sausages. How are you?
Sausages, huh? That's a new one. I guess I'm doing okay.
Isn't it kind of late, or should I say early in the UK?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 1:30 in the morning, but it's well, I guess Saturday now, so I'm staying up.
We appreciate it. Appreciate it. Love my folks calling in from the UK for this show. You guys are amazing and crazy for watching it at the hour you do, but amazing all the same. Critical Corey, how can we help you?
Right, yeah. Well, I guess first of all, excuse me if I ramble or go crazy. My ADHD meds have ran out, and I've had lots of sugary alcoholic drinks. So please forgive me if I sound insane. But yeah, so I've just been thinking about ghosts, and I've had a few people in my life that think they're real, and for me, it seems kind of I guess unreasonable to think that. I guess I've got three main points. Okay. I don't really know how you want me to go about it.
Well, okay. So are you looking? So our call screen put that you're looking for evidence to believe in ghosts. Are you interested in the pro ghost arguments?
Yeah. So I guess a good way to start this would be what are your views on ghosts?
I think Critical Corey, if you've watched the show long enough, you can probably guess from maybe 10 minutes of me talking. I'm not a ghost guy. When I was a kid, I was super into ghosts. I was all over watching all the ghost shows on TV. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. My dad, interestingly enough, was a skeptic of the shows and kind of was the first person to really introduce me to this idea of, oh yeah, maybe they're just doing special effects or whatever. But I always kind of wondered at the end of the day, but was that really, what if they really caught something here, Yeah. And I think there's a lot of kids that are like that. But as I got older, and especially as I deconstructed Christianity, because Christianity does, and Judaism does hold a belief that ghosts are kind of a thing. And I can explain why if you really want to know the reasons for that. But regardless, I kind of figured, okay, well, if souls aren't really a thing, and I'm just kind of a material person, I exist in a physical space, in a physical body. Why would any part of me go on after moving on? Certainly, why would it hang around? What are the rules there? Can it just go into space? Is it affected by gravity? Do I just start floating and then the earth rotates away as it's flowing from the sun? There's a lot of things that just kind of don't add up. Basically, if ghosts exist, I really need to know the rules because I don't know what the rules are on how they even would be a thing, right? Because everybody has ghost stories, but they're all incredibly inconsistent and unreliable and quite frankly ridiculous. So there's my take on that, Phil.
Yep. You probably don't know this, but I lived in a haunted house, a haunted mansion. I
think you talked about this last time you were on.
Did I? That would be a shock. Well, maybe I did. It was a story where the house actually tried to kill me.
I think you told me this story. I don't know if it was on air or not, but yeah, you should talk about that.
It could be. I was walking through the second story of this mansion, and right after I walked through this section, about a literal ton, U.S. ton, of plaster came detached from the ceiling and fell on the floor behind me and covered me in a cloud of plaster dust. And it sounded like an entire bomb went off behind me. And then after I moved out of the house, some ghost hunters went into the house and walked around with their hooey equipment. And one thing you might notice if you know anything about their equipment, the crappier the equipment is, the better it is, because it's more likely to pick up a CB or a radio station because it's not high quality equipment where the channels are tuned really good. But I had someone from a newspaper call me and say, hey, we've been told that you used to live in this house and it almost tried to kill you. And we had these guys go in there and they got this recording. And the recording was like this. Hey, Tom, did you see anything over there in the dark? No, Bob, do you see anything over there in the dark? And then as clear as a bell, you can hear this little girl's voice saying, help me, somebody please help me. What? And the newspaper person played this sound clip for me. And I said, are you for real? Is this like a practical joke? And she goes, no, this is a real recording they made. And I said, okay, I tell you what I'll do. I'll come on and do an interview with you for your newspaper after you take that audio file to a sound production studio and have them analyze it. And she lost all interest in talking to me. So
you could have been onto something there.
but I think that was probably so sad and pathetic because it was obviously forged, and they just probably had one of their kids say that line and they dubbed it over the tape they were making in the basement of the house. I'm gonna critical Corey. I'm gonna go with I don't see any credible evidence. I'm open to the idea that something happens, but I'm pretty darn sure, as you said, us sausages, when we stop to breathing and the blood stops going to the brain a couple minutes after those things stop, it's over and done.
Yeah. And that's basically my view is like, I don't see how we would persist after we're dead. And I guess I'll go for my second point first. Is like usually people that believe in ghosts tend to just think they're human, right? There's never really, or I guess sometimes there probably are, but it's mainly human ghosts, right? And my question is, okay, well, how does that work then? Because obviously we evolved into Homo sapiens. So my thing is like, okay, so at what point did we gain the ability to become ghosts, right?
It's true. Do amoebas have ghosts? Like, how far down the evolutionary chain does it go, right? Like
are there whale ghosts? That would be cool.
Dude, whale ghosts? I'm into that idea.
Now, can they go on land? I mean, I never understood this even as a kid. Ghosts can walk through a wall, but doesn't fall through the floor.
Yeah, that's another. See, that's what I'm saying. Gravity. What's gravity's deal? Is it involved in the process?
But they don't. Well, sometimes they float. Like in Ghostbusters or something. Right. They can slime you.
But even if they float, they stay above in one place, and the Earth is moving. Is what I'm trying to get at. So are they still affected by that whole? So they stay with the Earth. They don't they ignore walls and everything, but they don't end up like millions of miles away. Yeah, that bothered me.
And of course, Dan, are you familiar with the Coriolis effect?
Of course, yeah. But you should definitely explain it for folks at home.
So basically, while the Earth spins at a constant rate, the speed that you can measure in miles per hour is like 1,000 miles per hour at the equator, and at the North Pole, you just spin 360 over 24 hours. So it creates these air patterns that if you're into artillery or a bomber or something, you have to take all of this stuff into account when before you get to your target, or if you want to hit your target. So the question is, if a ghost is affected by the rotational speed of the Earth, on the equator, they have to resist 1,000 miles per hour of spinning. And if they're at one of the poles, they don't have to. So why does it not stir them up and make them curly and mess with their
that's because
I don't know.
Phil, that's an easy one. That's because the Earth is flat. Okay. That's
you're gonna get callers that are oh my God.
It's true. You know more about the Coriolis effect than I did. The most I know about it is that in Australia the toilet bowls go in a different direction. I thought that was the Coriolis effect. Isn't that it, or is that a different thing?
I think that's a different thing, but I may be ignorant there. I know the Coriolis effect in air, and it's that in combination with what's called the jet stream in the United States dictates which ways the predominant winds are going. So from west to east in the Midwest, but more in tropical regions, it goes from east to west. That's why the hurricanes start in the Atlantic and run up to Florida. Yay, Florida.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So yeah, you're more prepared to speak to that topic than I was. So I'm glad you were there for that particular segment. But Corey, okay, so we give an art takes. Are you like still someone thinking it could be possible that ghosts are thing? Are you more just like annoyed by your family members? Like what's the sitch?
No, yeah. So I absolutely don't think they're real at all. Like, the second point, obviously, with like, it was my first point in the call, but the whole, Homo sapiens and when do we become ghosts kind of thing doesn't make any sense to me. And my first point was going to be like, if ghosts were real, and have existed for X amount of time, or as long as humans have been around, that's at the very least hundreds of thousands of years. So you would expect there to be kind of like a thick layer of ghosts above the crust by now, right? Like there's been so much time where people have existed, or animals in general, where I would feel like if ghosts were real, there would just be way too many of them everywhere.
Unless they go into the.
This is solved by young Earth creationism. The Earth is only 6,000 years old, and since it's flat, it's not a problem.
That's evidence towards young Earth creationism, I think. Yeah, 100%. No, yeah, I guess if I was a ghost person, I would say, well, it's only if you have like unresolved business that you become a ghost and you stay or something. I'm sure you could weasel your way around it. But yeah, no, I like the older I get, I guess, and the more learned I've become, there are less and less. It's not like, the possibility of ghosts gets bigger. You know what I mean? It's pretty much smaller. I mean, I don't know. I guess obviously there's people who, I've met them. What am I talking about? I've met people who are extremely serious about ghosts being a real thing and like affecting our world. And, I guess that being meaningful in some sense, I guess that would be meaningful. If we found out that ghosts were a thing, yeah, I guess that would kind of change some things for me. But like, I don't know. It's just like, it's one of those issues where it's like, I feel like we figured this one out already, guys. Like, we don't have to keep looking into it. You know what I mean? Like, maybe we should be researching quantum mechanics or something else besides,
something real
like houses. I don't know.
Right.
Corey, what do you think?
No, yeah, I absolutely agree. And like, so you mentioned like them interacting with our world, and that was my final point, was that like, I guess like the main thing that made me really think like, okay, this is obviously fake, was recently someone I know that does believe in ghosts shared this video of like, like ghost hunter YouTuber kind of people. And in this video, they were like, right, we're going to prove to you that we're not faking anything. Like, there's nothing in our shoes, all this kind of stuff. And then they tried to show that the ghost was like knocking on the floor and making a sound. And they were trying to like prove that it's not them making the sound. It's obviously a ghost. But my argument is like, if the ghost is able to make a sound on the floor, then it must be physically interacting with the floor in order to make that sound.
Yes,
and if
I agree. Dragging their chain.
We would be able to detect that. Yeah. Because like, I guess like an argument they might make is something like, say, dark matter, where we haven't been able to directly detect it, but we've still been able to indirectly detect it by its effects. And we haven't done that for ghosts. And I feel like with the shit,
Corey, it's the exact same thing for God, honestly. Like,
it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I try to tell people this, but only so many people can listen. Yeah, no, I get you, Corey. It's there's a lot of problems. It doesn't, if I was on a debate team and I had to be on the side of pro ghosts, I would be sweating, because I really wouldn't know how to make that work coherently.
I could do that. I'd crush it, Dan.
Of course you would, Phil. Of course you would.
Yeah.
You'd be going on and on about the whale ghosts and stuff. I see you doing.
I did look it up, by the way. I have to make a correction. The Earth's equator doesn't move at 1,000 miles an hour. It's 1,037.
Oh, okay. Wow. That's good that you corrected that.
That was pretty close.
I guarantee you a commenter would have pointed that out if you hadn't. So it's good that you did that. Anyway, Corey, was there anything else we could help you with here? Because I think you got to figure it out. I think we're on the same page. Like, you and I are probably of like mind here, I should say.
Yeah. No, that was basically it. Yeah, I just thought it was interesting to talk about, and I was curious what your views are. And yeah, you've done a great job at explaining it.
Thank you.
Corey, yeah,
Thank you. Have a Guinness for me.
Yeah. Yeah, really appreciate it, Critical Corey. Thanks so much for calling in, and go get some sleep, please.
Yeah.
Give yourself a rest.